And well, heck, the mall across the street, all locked up, you know, all of the restaurants around it locked up. Christmas Eve, nobody wants to be working, everybody wants to be home on the range where everything's not so strange and stuff like that. And so that's where they are. They're home with their families or whatever they got for a family at the time, hanging out. And there's only one little place about 3 blocks down the street that I can see that is open. It looks like a bar. Well, a little bar food won't kill me. Shoot, I've been eating road food all of my life and I'm still not dead, so I don't reckon that's going to hurt me any worse than anything else has. So I head that way, and sure as hell turns out to be a topless bar, of course. What else would be open on Christmas Eve in Portland, Oregon? You know what I mean? That's where we go for our fun. That's where the fun is, huh? Now you gotta understand, I'm still a growing man, young man. I haven't quite got to where I am now. This is part of what got me there. This is part of the parallels. It's about opening of the heart. Now you understand, in the 80s, everything and everybody got a little uptight, myself included, and I went a different direction in a different way. And I learned a lot because of it. But because of that, I'd also been kind of celibate for 2 or 3 years, even though I was married at the time and had girlfriends too. I always do. And man, I'd almost shut that side of myself down completely because it just didn't seem appropriate anymore. Part of the uptight shit. God, it was rough. Especially as a younger guy like that. But you just go with the flow. You take it where it takes you. You ride that bus to the end of the line and you turn around and come back if you have to. Because maybe you found nothing down there at the end of the line. Well, I was kind of in one of those places where I'd really been down to the end of the line and I didn't know quite how to get back. I was still on the same bus, but I wasn't riding it right. So I'm trying to get my life back together. This little marketing company's given me incredible confidence. I mean, I'm actually making a living doing my own thing as a little one-man company for one of the few times in my life. And it's awesome. And I'm feeling good about it. So as I'm slipping and sliding through this rainstorm, I put on my heavy coat and I head down to this restaurant about 8, 9 o'clock at night. This bar, I guess it is. And sure as hell, like I said, topless bar. Well, shit, I've been in those before. It's not like I'm a spring chicken or nothing. It's been a long time, but, I walk in. I'm that freaking hungry anyway. And I'll eat cheese sticks if that's all they got. If they have anything at all. And so I have a couple beers and whatever little snacks they had there, bar food, that's all it was. But, it got me by. It got me pumped up. And, of course, I noticed the dancers. How do you not, I mean, I'm in love with life, and I'm in love with the ladies, even then, even as I'm coming out of these uptight stages of the 80s. And, I had a couple of more beers, probably snuck out and toked a few when nobody was looking. Come back in there. I mean, you gotta understand, this is Christmas Eve. For me, it's kind of a sentimental time. I don't care how you feel about the holiday or the religion around it. I don't have much feeling either way about it. But it's always, because it's about gathering of family. It's about the giving of heart, the forgiveness of everything we've ever done wrong, or what we perceived as wrong, and letting go and letting ourselves be free and finding what we are inside. So this was a part of my process in some of the earlier days of my beginnings. And, I come back in from having a smoke outside. And there's this one young lady sitting at the bar, and right there, right next to where I've been sitting. So I sit down and chat with her for a little bit. And lo and behold, she gets up and starts dancing. And of course, because we were connected, there was something familiar there. I go over to the table to watch her dance. Now I'm a man, I have those kind of man things going on. Only they've been denied in me for a long time, at least for a few years anyway. I've been really going backwards in my life, and this is part of what's starting to turn me around. But this gracious young lady, whom I found out a little later, this was her first time doing it, dancing I mean, she and I shared a really special moment together. It was sensual. There was no touching, no lap dancing, none of that crap. It was an energetic thing. It was a sharing of the heart in a sensual way through the mode of dance. It was one, up to that point, of the most awesome and amazing things to happen in my life. This girl helped me open up completely where I hadn't been able to before. I realized it was okay to feel that way. That not only wasn't there anything wrong with it, it was part of the path that would set us free. To get loose inside yourself. To let go of the restrictions you placed on yourself through the uptighted attitudes wherever they came from. A lot of us inherited from our ancestors, We're born right into it and brainwashed into it. It's pretty rough shit. But here we are. Christmas Eve, Portland, Oregon. And me and this little naked chick dancing. Performing miracles in a dive bar in southeastern Portland. Well, I went back to my motel room 3 blocks away, slipping and sliding, but I made it. I'm sure she got home wherever she went to, too. But God, I could feel a switch inside had flipped. Something had changed for me. And I felt a whole lot freer than I ever had before. Just because someone happened to be at the right place at the right time, myself included as that someone. We all work together in this. The amazing synchronicity that brings it all together, that brings you to the past, that brings you home, can be equally as out there as anything I've ever lived. So I go back to my motel room that night feeling very satisfied, very awakened. Starting to feel things I hadn't felt in years. I'd been that shut down. And of course I had sweet dreams that night and woke up in the morning. Really early, because I always do. I sleep very little, 6, 7 hours is plenty, and usually 3 or 4 will do it. Old truck driver ways, I guess, and farm boy before that. But there I am. I wake up early and it's dark and I don't want to get out of bed, so I just stay there. No computer, I don't have things like that then. I had a cell phone though, pretty awesome. But very expensive, so I used it sparingly. And I just lay there. And gradually the daylight comes. I don't know, I'm feeling better. I'm doing a little tuning in at the same time, but I'm feeling better and better. And the sun starts to rise. You can see out my window, I got the curtains drawn. There is a ton of ice out there. There's like 6 inches of ice coating everything. It's a disaster. It's a miserable mess. But in my motel room, it's magic. Because as the sun peeks up over the mountains to the east and pours its beams in through my windows, it does it in a diffused way because of all the ice on the tree branches around us and so forth. And it comes shining through as these little rainbow prisms all over my room. It's like everywhere I looked, there was these rainbow prisms everywhere. And it just got brighter and brighter and more colored as the sun came up. It was awesome! Amazing! I felt like reincarnated or something, for heck's sakes in Portland, Oregon, man. Shit. And finally the sun's all the way up there and I'm vibed higher than hell and I don't know what to do with it all. So I roam down to the lobby of the motel and hang out and have coffee with the few stragglers that happen to be up early in the day along with me. And pretty soon there's a group forming there in this lobby and we're all talking happy thoughts, where we've been in many different Christmases before, things about our family, personal feelings we have about things, what's going on in our lives, things like that. And it got to be quite the group. Pretty soon there's 10, 20 people there. By 8, 9 o'clock in the morning, the lobby's full of guests from the motel. But everybody's kind of like in the same boat I am. They're mostly traveling people that just got stuck there because of the ice, And there's one gentleman there who happened to be working the same little mall gift show that I was, and he'd had quite a successful time. And so about 10 o'clock, maybe 11, he announces to the bunch there that he would like to buy us all Christmas dinner down at this Lions Cafe. It's about 3 miles away. But despite the disaster, despite the heavy ice and traffic's not moving and nothing's going on, the little train, I forget what they call it there, but the little commuter train is still a-running. The electric train in Portland is still a-running. And it's about 3 blocks away. And it stops right next to this Lions Cafe, which happens to be open, for Christmas dinner that day. So we all made arrangements. We all got on the train and rode down there, about 20 of us. And this gentleman bought for us all. And we were from such diverse areas of life and from such diverse places, you wouldn't believe it. Each of us representing a little different form of marketing and art, a little different section of life. But we had the most magnificent lunch there that day. And we got along like we were brothers and sisters, arm in arm, carrying forward our energy for the rest of humanity, so that others might live to see special days where sharing like this could happen. Up until that time, it was one of the most beautiful and poetic times of my life, and I've been through a lot. Very many beautiful moments as well as many trying ones, and this was just one of the most awesome. We go back to that motel, and of course I stayed another night because the ice wasn't letting up, and on the next day finally managed to get out of there and get on home. But of course we remained in our area of connection, this little crowd that had formed there in the lobby of the motel early in the day, and trekked on down for a Christmas lunch at this Lions Cafe. And I've never forgotten the little girl that helped set me free. I know she went on to find a better life for herself, and she basically told me that's where she was headed. And I know I did. I went through a lot more after that. And I've been through many a hard Christmas since then, and many a hard one before that. But every one of them has been sweet and magical, just like this one. The parallel being, let your heart lead you. Don't make judgments on anything. You might find paradise in a bar down the street, just as easy as you can in a church or anywhere else. You might find paradise in the eyes of another who's not intended for you and never will be. But for a moment in time, you have this communication, a heart-to-heart thing. It's where the mystical engages actively in this life and shows you what it really is and brings forth the magic from inside of yourself. That's the gift I'm here to share with you today. It's just a remembrance of that magic. Because if you have similar fond memories of sweet holidays out there on the highways of life, and this comes in many forms. You don't have to be a traveler. But if you have those memories, and you have memories of angels in assistance to ourselves, you have memories of yourself opening and receiving and awakening in ways that theretofore had not been available. You know, holidays are just holidays. But what you find there for yourself can be of spectacular importance to you. This is a beautiful life, kids. And we ought to be damn glad we're living it, no matter where we are in it right now. Because just like I could come out of some of my inhibited stances, just because somebody showed some kindness, showed a little caring, showed a little openness that an otherwise more brazen person wouldn't have. Just because of that, I was able to find freedom in myself. How many times do we provide the same opportunity to one another and don't even know it, don't even realize? It doesn't matter if we do, we don't have to. Just be the magic that we are. And let it take you where it can take you. Because it's sure taken me. It's changed my life completely from those times many times over. And I've had to give up everything I held precious and dear in order to find what is really dear, what is really precious, what really means something to me in this heart of mine. Because what's special to me is special to you too. We're all in it together. And it's all about peace, coming to terms with all of the negative shit that's been going on inside, all of the programming, all of the unjust effects we have felt in our lives, and moving forward without the restriction of any of those effects in place any longer. And we're standing on the cusp of a miracle far greater than I ever experienced any time in my life before this time, including that one I just related to you, as sweet as it is. Babies, I love you. Just know that this means something more than a few words passing across the airwaves and into your heart. It's an awakening. It's an awareness of how things really operate here. And you will be challenged to see past all of your preconceived notions through experiences similar to what I've had, where preconceived notions go out the window and practicality, the practicality of the heart, takes its place within you and motivates and operates. Ah, sweet place of being, I tell you. So Merry Christmas to you all, and a most wondrous and prosperous New Year, even though it may or may not be coming up on your calendar. Doesn't make any difference. It's all here inside you, you see? And that's what's in you, and that's what's in me. Love you guys. Catch you in a while.